Hello, hello. And yes, I am back here live, or at least I hope I'm live. Yes, hello, everyone. It is wonderful to see you all. It is so fantastic. A beautiful day here at my palatial estate in Collingwood, Ontario, Canada. I'm about 2 hours north of Toronto. And yes, it's absolutely gorgeous today. A little chilly. Oh, there we go. Yes, I am live. A little chilly. Fall is definitely in the air. So I always say, regardless of the weather, let's just stay inside and sew. So hello, everyone. It's fabulous. I've had viewers coming in right now. It's great to see you all. My name is Michael Smith, the National Education Manager of Janome Canada, and I'm back here live. Oh, fabulous. And my sister Deborah's here. I am, and Elizabeth is here as well from the Highlands of Scotland. Oh, that's wonderful. I hope it's wonderful weather there too. Yes, I'm back live in the Janome Sewing Machines Facebook page, Janome Canada Facebook page, Janome America's YouTube channel, and Janome Canada's YouTube channel. And what are we going to talk about today? When Linda's here from Toronto. Hello, hello. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, a number of our Janome machines already come with so many presser feet, but I love to share even more. There's always more available. Oh my gosh, from Norway and Germany. This is what I love. When technology works, we all come together. That's fabulous. So the foot I'm going to talk about today is an optional specialty presser foot, but when you are doing applique, look at this beautiful, this is known as hearts and gizzards, known by a couple of different names, but a very old traditional quilt pattern called hearts and gizzards, and this is all applique, all this blue and white. First you piece the blocks in the background, and then all of this, can I zoom in close? All of this is appliqued on top after the block is pieced. It's really, really fun to do. Applique has so many uses. Again, maybe you're going to, this is a sample I'm making, a simple hand towel. It doesn't have to be great, simple hand towel. I just got this from the discount store, but I would like to applique this cute little heart on the hand towel. And what a great gift that will be. Totally last minute. It won't take a long time to do, certainly won't break the bank. But the applique can be done so much faster and easier. Let's flip around. You don't need to see my messy sewing room. So much faster and easier with the applique foot. So once again, I am demonstrating on my fabulous Janome Skyline S7 AE Anniversary Edition. But this specialty presser foot I'm going to show you is available for 5 and 7 and 9 millimeter machines. Comes in a blister pack here, and I'm on a 9 millimeter machine, so therefore my blister pack says 9 millimeters. But it is the applique foot, and it is the AP when we're looking at all letter Janome feet. Our A foot is the regular zigzag foot. This is the AP foot, the applique foot. And why this is very special, you'll see it's a very slim profile and clear, so people can see exactly where the needle's going. They can see their stitching. They can see the edge of their applique very easily. Whereas, the zigzag foot is a metal foot. So yes, we have plastic in the front so we can see through that, but it's a little more challenging. This has no impediments whatsoever. Now, in some of our machines, as I said, we have the F foot, the satin stitch foot, and then we have the F2 satin stitch foot, the open toe foot. This either comes with your machine or is available in a separate blister pack. And these feet are great. Not only are they clear, but again, they've got that groove on the underside of the foot to allow those decorative stitches, those applique stitches, to pass through very easily. So these feet are okay, but when I turn them to the side, you see the length of this foot, and then here is our special AP applique foot. And you'll notice right away that this front is beveled up. So when I'm coming up to and over some applique that's maybe got some batting in it, some dimension, that is nice and rounded, so we're not just going to butt right into it. But especially as I line these feet up, do you see how the applique foot in the front is shorter? It's stubbier. It doesn't have as long toes as the F foot or the F2. The F feet are the same size. One is open toe, one is closed toe. But again, they've got longer toes. So the AP applique foot is shorter in profile. So it doesn't, those longer toes don't get in the way, especially again, as we're coming up into applique with some dimension. Now here, full instructions in the back of the blister pack. It's a very simple foot to use. You'll see that unlike most traditional snap-on feet, there is a bar at the back and at the front. So most snap-on presser feet, we just, drop the foot and it clicks into that front bar. But here with the AP foot, you see this back bar goes into this back groove of my foot holder. So first we put the back bar in that groove, and then we can just snap the foot up into place. So it makes it very simple, very easy to do. We've got the little black button on the back of our foot holder to release. So again, first we put the back of the foot in to the back of the foot holder and then snap it up in place. So very simple to do. And again, it is available for some 5, 7, and 9 millimeter machines. So double check with your Janome dealer to make sure you get the correct one for your machine. And then again, I just snap that up into place, no problem. Now there are some, oh, maybe I will take this back. Maybe you didn't notice. There are some groups. You see there's a little tick mark there. There's a tick mark here for center needle position and a little tick mark right here that's to the left of that groove, that notch in the foot. So all of these little tick marks here can help us with our placement of our applique stitches. So that's another advantage to this foot. Now, I wrote there's several blogs on Janome Life, and I did the A to Z with Janome series on the Janome Canada YouTube channel. You can go back to review. Look at all this applique. You see those little tight satin stitches, applique, beautiful, all around, whatever you'd like to do. And again, how beautiful with all of that. In this case, it's a very traditional stitch, looks like a buttonhole stitch that was done by hand, but there's so many applique stitches built into a number of our Janome machines. So very, very fun to do. So my little hand towel here, I simply cut out my heart shape and I have backed it with a stabilizer. It could be a fusible if you're doing raw edge applique, and then that way you don't have to worry about those raw edges raveling. Just to help beef up this fabric a little bit more, makes it really easy to apply. You could use a spray starch as well, just to starch this applique fabric a little more. So applique stitches, yes, let's go into our machine here. So in a number of our Janome machines, they'll be in the as we scroll through the machine, it will be in like around the utility category. So I can just scroll through. I can use, of course, a regular zigzag stitch, no problem at all. But we have some fancy applique stitches. So we can use this foot with a regular zigzag. This is middle needle position with the M, and this one is R for right needle position. So I could use any of my zigzag stitches, no problem. But as we go up our Janome line of machines, we get into some specific applique. So depending on where in your machine memory it will be, or on the housing of the machine, like our QDC machines, 3160, for example, 4100, they have the all the stitches on the base of the machine, on the housing of the machine. So you would select the applique stitches. Now, in this case, they are like the traditional buttonhole stitch here. But we have so many we can choose. Now, again, M is middle needle position and R is right needle position. So any of these will do. These triple lines of stitching means it's going to go back and forth on itself 3 times, then over twice, then back and forth 3 times. So any stitch you would like to do. Now the machine is telling me to use that F foot, but again, I'm using that AP Applique Foot. So I've got a little bit better visibility. It's got a little lower profile. Now I can go in to adjust here my width. Do you see how that's making the width of this cross stitch there of the applique? This stitch is going to go along the edge of the applique, and this is going to bite into the applique, these two stitches here. When I increase my width, do you see it's making it really wide? So this is where some samples help. So you'll see this is the same stitch, but look at this. This is applique stitch number 1, middle needle position. So here is my regular stitch at that 3.5 needle position, but over here, I made it wider. So look at that, how I have it up to, in this case, it was 7.0. Now I'm all the way up. I can go all the way up to 9.0. So it's going to take a bigger bite. So it's really fun to experiment. And it's great to be in a machine where we don't have to worry, oh, what was the default set at? I can just hit DFT default and boom, it goes right back to that 3.5. So it's really fun to do all of these little samples so you get exactly the look you want. So right here, my needle has moved over and I am going to align my needle, the right side of the needle, I am aligned to the edge of the applique. So then the swing of the needle to the left is going to now bite into my fabric. So it's really fun and really important that when these stitches are going, again, this is a stitch that's going to go back and forth on itself a couple of times, and then it's going to swing over to the left a couple of times. So it's really important. You can slow the machine down if you'd like to slow it down with the speed control slider. Or just don't put your foot so hard on the gas. So it's really important to see exactly what's happening, where these stitches are going back and forth on itself before it bites over to the side. That's especially important when we have a sharp corner to pivot. Since I'm on this heart, I'm just using my hand here as a fulcrum to help go around this curve. I don't really have to raise and lower my presser foot if it's on a gentle curve, as this heart is. Now, we do have a knee lifter in a number of our machines. So if we do need to ever stop and pivot our fabric, I want to make sure I stop. There, I swung into the fabric. I want to make sure when I pivot my fabric, I'm going to swing one more and then stop with my needle in the right needle position. It is to the right of my applique. I'm going to stop, and then with my knee lifter, oh look, I can raise my presser foot that way. Now the knee lifter, ooh, do we see way back? Ooh, I'm all tethered around cords. Oh boy, there we go. The knee lifter is again taken from the garment industry to raise and lower our presser foot without having to take our hands off the project. So that makes it really convenient. I can just slightly pivot this and then continue to stitch along. Now, also a really convenient feature to use on many of our machines is this needle automatic needle auto pivot function. So it drops the needle in the fabric. When I select it here, it drops the needle in the fabric and raises the presser foot. So every time I take my foot off the power foot control, the presser foot will raise, the needle will go into the fabric, then the presser foot raises. So that's acting like a third hand to help stabilize my project. So again, I can easily stitch around this. This is where I just want to get lost in my sewing and just take my time and finish all of this One of these days I'll finish all of these. But the nice thing is you really need to, especially with applique, you really need to let your machine do the work. Do not try to force the applique through. You're not going to get consistent stitches. Trust me, how I know that. You just let your machine do the work. And again, with that auto presser foot lift, see, I took my foot off the gas and the presser foot raised very easily so I can adjust my work, keep that nice and flat. It's so fun to do. And this is such an inexpensive way that you can jazz up an existing garment, an existing tote bag, some home decor items. Or again, if you want a quick and easy gift as we're going into the holidays, you know, here in Canada, Thanksgiving is coming up next week already. So when we are maybe going over to a friend's house, a relative's house, and we want to give them a little, you know, hostess gift. So how about some towels that we could personalize, a little hand towel for the powder room, and we can personalize it with this applique. So again, as I'm coming into this corner, it's very important when we're appliquing and I'm going to pivot that corner, I'm going to stop with my needle on the right hand side, on the outer side of that applique. And this is where I need to know, now is my stitch going to go back onto itself before I pivot? This is where you have to pay attention to how your stitch is going to form. And then I turn that corner and there we go. Perfect. Oh, that is so perfect. Now I've already stitched that corner previously, because again, I use these samples over and over as much as I can. But you see how beautiful that applique is, how consistent that buttonhole stitch is. And that outer line of stitching that goes back and forth on itself is right around that raw edge of the applique. Now, because I fused a interfacing onto the back, a stabilizer onto the back of this fabric, it's not going to ravel, but especially with these close buttonhole stitches and that fabric that's right along the edge, this is not going to ravel at all. So this hand towel it's a beautiful decorative piece, but it can actually be used. So that is great. It's so simple, so easy to do. And then maybe you can see I used white thread on the back. You can see it's just a little bit visible through the pile of this fabric. But I need a blanket stitch. Yes, it's so simple to do any of our applique stitches that, again, we would traditionally have any of these applique stitches. So then there is some, and again, we have the different widths, for example, or the different lengths. So this is 3.5 needle position width, and then this is 2.5 stitch length. So when I select stitch number 2, there you see it is at 2.0 is the width, and then this is 1.5 length. So it's even tighter. So this is where, again, we do our little scraps of fabric just to see what the different stitches will produce. And these stitches, again, are built into a number of our Janome machines, and you just experiment which one looks best. Now, we can use this traditional applique, especially back in the 30s, for quilting. They often used, with that bright bubblegum pink fabric, they used black thread for the applique. So it was really pronounced. But we could use, this could be monofilament thread, and I wouldn't even see it at all. So what a difference that stitch looks. Do you see how tight this first stitch that I did? And then this is a smaller bite, and there's not as many stitches. It's not as tight. So it's really fun to do these various stitches and experiment. And because, so let's try some more. Oh, how about this? This R is right needle position. Do you see it's a straight stitch, but it's a little zigzag bite, and then it's stitching and then it bites. Little, this is almost like a hand-picked stitch. Now this, when I first started quilting, 34 years ago, this was the stitch that I used to do. It's almost, again, like hand-picked hand stitching. This is the stitch I used with monofilament thread, typically called invisible thread, so you don't even see it. Look what a low profile stitch that is. Little stitches, then that little bite, little stitches, then that little bite. So any of these stitches would be great to do for applique. Yes, Sharon, it is beautiful. The machine does such a beautiful job. And again, with this clear AP applique foot, I can see my stitches, no problem. And you see here with my right needle position, as my stitch indicated, on my S7, it is applique stitch number 15 with the right needle position. Do you see it's lined up right with that tick mark that is on the toe of the foot? So I know exactly where my stitching is going. So that works out really, really good. Now, the fun thing is even more fun. All of this is fun, but even more fun. So you'll see a variety of applique stitches. Oh, and what about this one? Look at all that. What a dense stitch that is, where one side, the right side, is all justified. It's all lined up. And then the left side, it's all feathered in. Really, really fun to do. When we're getting into more applique, this is a project I totally fell in love with. Everyone should do this. This is the Circles of Cheer wall panels created by our fabulous Janome Canada artisan, Kim Jameson Hurst. This is in the Inspire tab of janome.ca. You can go to janome.com in their Create and Learn tab. There's tons of free projects in our Inspire tab in Janome Canada. Check your Janome websites around the world, and you make these cute wall panels. Specifically, this was for Christmas, but you could really make these for any kind of holiday. This was with the circular sewing attachment. Now, Kim used her F foot for this, if you could see in the picture, her F foot, because she's using decorative stitches, but I instead, oh yes, I can use my applique foot. So really, really fun to do, full instructions. And then yes, all these beautiful applique stitches. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? That beautiful heavy satin stitch is just beautiful. So this is the Circle of Cheer wall panel. And basically you're making these balls, these Christmas balls. And here, this is not a traditional applique stitch. It's one of our regular decorative stitches, but it worked out beautifully covering the raw edge of that applique and using that AP applique foot. Oh, we could see exactly where we're going. And even the decorative stitches here to stitch down this ribbon, the applique foot has that groove on the underside that allow for these heavy stitches to form. Isn't this so cool with this metallic thread? Look at that beautiful satin stitch, nice heavy satin stitch. So it's so fun to use some of these decorative stitches. And again, these aren't traditional applique stitches, but they're built in many cases to your machine. You might as well use them. So this stitch, for example, again, isn't a traditional applique stitch, but why not? And look at this, all different feathered around the edges is so beautiful. So many different choices. Now, when we get into, though, the sewing applications mode, so that's in our regular applique category, but in some of our more advanced machines, we have sewing applications, which is this little t-shirt icon. So sewing applications is the machine saying, well, what do you want to do? And I say, oh, I want to applique. Here is my applique category. Oh, well, look, there's some of these traditional applique stitches, like that buttonhole stitch that I just demoed at the first start. Or then here, blanket stitch, no problem. M for middle needle position, R for right needle position. We have 2 pages. There's a traditional zigzag, middle needle position, right needle position. I'll go back to the blanket stitch here. So then here is my 2.0 width and my 1.5 length. But now that I'm in sewing applications, I can go into my adjust menu here, and not only can I adjust the length, the width and the length, but I can adjust the needle drop position, which is right here. So right now my needle is at 4.5 center needle position, as indicated by this little mark on the toe of my applique foot. It is right here at that little tick mark. That is center needle position. But now I want to adjust the needle drop position. Specifically, I want to move this over to the right so it lines up with that little tick mark. So I can move, do you see my whole line of stitching is moving? I'm not adjusting the width of the stitch. I'm just moving the whole stitch over so it lines up with that little groove. Now, ultimately, I have a 9mm machine. I can go over as far as I can go over as far as 8.0. So when I adjust that and I slightly lower, that lines up my needle with the groove in the foot. And if that's what I would like, that's no problem. Instead, I'm going to move that back over slightly to 7.0, and then that's lined up exactly with that little tick mark, which is just what I want. Now, the, again, length, I can adjust. This is at 1.5. I can either make it a little longer, or I could make it a little tighter. I'm going to make it a little longer. It was at 1.5, but now I'm going to make it a 2.0. I'm going to make it 2.0, a little longer, because now I'm going through some batting. So I have some dimension here. So I have a stabilizer on the back of my lower fabric here. I have my batting and then my applique piece. So I can line up the edge of my fabric. It is going to line up with that tick mark on my AP applique foot. And again, that will be the right line of stitching. I want it off the fabric in this case, and then I'm going to take a bite into the fabric. So by moving the needle drop position over to that little tick mark, it just makes it easier for me to see where the edge of the fabric is. I can see through this foot perfectly. It's almost like I don't even have a foot on at all. And again, this is where you have to do your little test sample first. When do I know it's okay to pivot? Is my stitch going to go back on itself before I pivot? I don't want to pivot too soon. If I turn my corner, maybe it'll stitch back out into the field of the fabric, and I don't want that. If it happens, it's not the end of the world. In that case, oh, I timed it perfectly. One would think I've done this a few times. But yes, it works out so well. And again, my time is racing, so I will race along. But it works so good. So every time you're going to pivot, make sure, again, your fabric is in the right hand side. The needle position's in the right hand side. And we're letting our machine do the work. Those are the two I guess caveats I could say the most when we're doing applique, is to make sure we're going to pivot with the foot in the right hand position, and then there, that auto presser foot lift makes it so convenient to pivot. And then we're going to make sure that we're going to let the machine do the work for the applique. So we can do whatever we wish. Here, I will just finish this. It's so fun. I wish I had more time to finish all my projects here live on air. But it's really fun that you can do this on pretty much any Janome machine. If it does a zigzag stitch, you too can do applique. And again, the more fancy our machines are, the more applique stitches they have. And again, sewing applications, we can adjust the needle drop position as well, in addition to the width and the length. But pretty much any machine, even our most basic Janome machines, can do applique. So it really is good. Now, of course, we could also applique with a straight stitch. Nobody says you have to do a zigzag stitch. If we're going to do raw edge applique, you'd want to back your fabric with a stabilizer of some kind, fusible interfacing of some kind. And I'll just use my lock stitch, my lock stitch button here. I just press that. So it's just going to do a couple of stitches in place to secure my stitches. So yes, with raw edge applique, you'd probably want to use a fusible of some kind to prevent some of the raveling of your fabric. But you could just use a straight stitch as well. Applique does not always have to be a zigzag stitch. Now, of course, my 4-inch mini duckbill scissors are absolutely fabulous to use for applique, particularly if then I had this underside. Let's pretend that I'm doing this applique here and I want to now eliminate this fabric. Then I would just go in with my 4-inch mini duckbill scissors. And again, look how perfect that works. I'm not going to trim in this lower layer of fabric because of this duckbill. We have a 6-inch pair with our Janome 9-piece scissor kit, but these 4-inch mini duckbill scissors work so well, again, for applique. So how perfect is that? And again, I'm not going to trim my lower layer. So it works so well. Look at my beautiful applique stitch. You barely even see it with that red thread. You barely see it. It just takes that little bite in the fabric. So you decide if you want it to show off more. Sure, use black thread, use metallic thread, whatever you want to do. Oh, we could just use a regular satin stitch for applique as well. Just a tight satin stitch in this case, this applique, or here again, some more decorative stitches. We're putting down this orange applique in the center specifically, and that helped finish off the raw edge. And then we just embellished it more with the satin stitch around the outside edge. Again, this too was done with the circular sewing attachment. So we can use that circular sewing attachment for applique. And it works so beautifully with this AP applique foot available from any Janome dealer. And then very quickly, since as always, my time is racing by, where can we find out more information? Well, we go to our respective websites. We can go to Janome Canada in my case, or we would go to Janome America, janome.com. And we can go to the accessory tab, and we would type in, as soon as I can find my mouse, we would go to the accessory tab. And what are you looking for? We could say the applique foot, and you type in whatever foot you're interested in. And then there, my applique foot. And then it's just going to take a minute to think. Well, boom, the first entry here is the AP applique foot. Oh, look, there's my 4-inch mini duckbill scissors. So that's fabulous. We click on applique foot. And then here we can see compatibility. Oh, there's a little bit of glare from my overhead light. But we can see the compatibility here. So 5 to 7 millimeters, there's a whole list of machines. And then 9 millimeters, again, a whole list of machines. So more information on respective Janome websites. Here in Canada and the US, we can go up to the very top to the support tab, and then we can find the instruction manuals to our machines. As well, we can find our Janome accessory catalog. So we can scroll through to find out everything we need. And again, you won't have a camera in your face to their accessory guide. Perfect. We can look through the Janome accessory guide and we can find the applique foot there. And then, as I mentioned earlier, our Janome Canada YouTube channel, the A to Z with Janome series, the A episode was the Applique Foot. This is our Janome Life blog. You type in Janome Life in your browser and you type in the search box here on the right, AP, Applique Foot, and all related blogs come up. All of these, all about the Applique Foot. So many resources at your fingertips, available 24/7. But of course, you go to your fabulous Janome dealer to order this foot, and you could ask them, you could tell them what foot or what machine you have, and they'll tell you exactly the part number that you need for the correct foot, and they can order it for you if they don't have it in stock. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. Oh, it's wonderful. My other sister, Cindy, is here too. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching today, and I will see you all next week. Have a fabulous day. Bye.